How's everybody doing? My hair's kind of... Alrighty. It is Saturday, July 17th, 2021, when I am producing this live video, and we are live on Facebook and also on... I see we're live on YouTube too, yeah. So, hope you guys slept well, had a good Friday night. My Facebook doesn't look like it's cranking up yet, but sometimes it takes a little while to get going. But anyway, here we are. It's hard to kind of look at both cameras. I think next time what I'll do is have one camera peep behind the other so I can just look at one place. So I hope that's not too irritating to you. As soon as my Facebook feed starts going, then I'll feel a little better about what's going on here. So let's just crank this right here. There we go. We good now? Yeah. All right, and now live on Facebook too. Sorry that took so long. Something wrong with the producer here. Not me, but the actual software behind Facebook. It's sometimes it's not as receptive and active as it should be. So what I'm gonna do is, if you guys just wait just a few secs, I'm gonna try to manage where we can get these cameras so I can be talking to you guys at the same time on Facebook and YouTube. You could tell I need a producer in here, right? Hope everybody's doing well. That's pretty good, right? Let me try something different here. I am in a new location, by the way, which is a cool thing. You can tell we're like a little discombobulated here, but it's okay, right? Let's see, what do I have for updates today? That's, you can see on Facebook, that's the that is the camera that we're using for YouTube. Here we go. Now we're getting more organized. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, what I want to do with this setup, and you guys know that, you know, we just play everything by ear here, is to have it so where when I'm looking at one, you know, when I'm looking over at the Facebook camera, I'm also looking at the YouTube camera. Okay, good. So that's, everything's good now, right? Yeah. So I hope everybody had a good Friday night. We were in the process of moving stuff, and you know how that goes. It's just like a job, and geez, it's just you know, a chore to get everything moved, and we're still not, everything's not moved, but most everything. I do have some plants still at the other place, and yeah, with that, I got to bring those over, and then we'll be done there. So the new place here is a nice location. It's quiet here. I love it. And but yeah, last night I was just so exhausted and trying to catch up with the kids and everything, and it my GKI this morning was off the charts because of yesterday, didn't eat properly or at proper times. I have everything down to such a routine. And that will throw you out of ketosis. If you don't keep within the parameters, your macros of your measurements, which I use Chronometer as my food logger, and it has the macros in there. And if you don't keep track of the stuff, you will lose track of the stuff, and before you know it, you're eating too late, and it's not a good thing. So the main thing you want to do, if you want to stay in a deep state of ketosis, is just be vigilant on what you put in your mouth. And also the other thing that goes in there that is very key, that goes in the protocol, not in your mouth, is getting proper rest. You should always get proper rest, and that's one thing I didn't get last night. So it was kind of a chaotic time here, and not as good as we'd love it to be, but it's fine. So it's just one day. Making sure that you always stick to your supplements that you should be taking, and everything else that you think that is great for your protocol, things that have done you well in the past. So, all right. So what happened in this last week for me? I did have my stent replaced. As many of you know, I have a cancer that is around my biliary duct. For those that don't understand, that's the bile duct that flows from the gallbladder down into your intestine, and you use bile to break down your fats. So it's a much needed thing, and mine was not flowing right, and that's what kind of threw up the red flag about what's going on with my body. Maybe I should have things checked. And sure enough, there was something constricting the bile duct, and it was a tumor, and that's the tumor that I'm dealing with. And it's been a big deal in my life since March. So I decided to go on this path, the ketogenic diet, along with press pulse, and which means we use the ketogenic diet, then we use a pulse, which in my case is the extreme chemotherapy. I say extreme because I think I'm getting too much chemo for what I'm doing, and it's been proven in some trials that not trials, but some scientific studies that you don't need as much. You don't need this full strength of the chemo. So it's been something that's been bugging me for a long time, and I have been back and forth with my oncologist, Dr. Santiago, here in Naples, Florida, and been trying to get this thing down to something that I can live without. As you notice, almost no hair up there. So and my quality of life is different as well. I want it to be better, and who doesn't want that to be better, right? So that happened, but that wasn't with the gastro guy who did the change of my stent to a permanent stent. In way of permanent, he said, okay, so it's not permanent, but it's going to be in there a lot longer than the other one. And supposedly this one is a little bit bigger, lets more things pass through. He did mention a couple things, though, that kind of got me thinking. He said that when he went in there were some stones. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm on this ketogenic diet. Where would the stones come from? So I'm going to do, and I haven't done it, and this just popped in my mind now, to do research on whether or not chemotherapy causes any kind of gallbladder stones. Should be interesting, right? Could be. So there were stones, there was some other guck and whatever stuff, that was in there blocking the old stent. Not blocking it, but, not totally blocking it, but, enough to where he had to clean some stuff out. He also did a EUC, which is using ultrasound to look around in there at the tumor and to kind of get, a better handle on, what's in there. He came back with information that was not new. For me, anyway, the tumor is pretty wrapped around, stuff. So the more I think about this, the more I know I need to, like, get this thing, shrunk as much as I can, so that either they can do an operation of some kind, or this thing just, goes away on its own. So it's a real fight here to get this thing under control, because, the more that it's like around the biliary duct and, close to the gallbladder, close to the liver, the more problems it's going to cause, So I need to, work very hard on getting that thing out of there, and do my part on that. So, and I'm using this path, which a lot of you ask about, of the doing a ketogenic diet, which a therapeutic one, which means yesterday I didn't hit the therapeutic ketogenic diet. So I just want to let you know that I have my days too. Yes, it's true. Not that I ate something that was off the menu, but that with the stress of yesterday, I think that played into it a whole bunch. And those things are things that you don't plan for, but they happen in life, and you can't beat yourself up about them. You just got to go on. That's something that happened. I look at my number, and it's not what I want it to be, and let's try harder today to be less stressful, do things in moderation and slower, and go from there. Some of the other things that the gastro guy said, that when he was in there looking around, was that he took some samples of the tumor and different areas close to the tumor to see if those areas were malignant as well. He said a few of them came back, just couldn't tell if it was or not, because it just, it didn't seem like it was. So that's good news. But the main tumor, yes, it is what it is. It's the cancer that they thought it was. It's not a different flavor. Didn't mention anything about spreading or doing any other kind of weird stuff, so we're good there. And then his recommendation, he kind of got out of his lane for a little bit, and I did kind of call him out on it. I know he was just calling to see if I was okay, after the operation. And then I started asking him a ton of questions, which I always do, and he was too busy for the questions and kind of got slightly, not, I wouldn't say irritated, but, a little hot from that. And he's generally a really nice guy. I mean, he was a nice guy. It's just that you could tell that he was not expecting all these questions, because one of my questions was on his write-up that I have in here somewhere. I mean, we got boxes everywhere in this place right now, is that I was, his recommendation was that, I keep doing the palliative chemotherapy. Palliative means that the chemotherapy is being done to extend life, and I don't like that word. I just told him that, right now. I said, man, I don't like that word, And he said, well, Dave, when we talk about the kind of cancer that you have, you don't say it's curative with, because it's not thought of as some kind of a cancer that's curative using chemotherapy. And that just the more I think about this, the more I talk about it. I'm kind of thinking right now that that's just what's ingrained in their standard practice of, care for um, patients with cancer, is that, they have no expectations of some kind of a cure using these, the what do you call it, the conventional treatments for cancer, which is, okay, we're looking at this thing. Initially, when they saw me, they thought they saw some other stuff, so they go, okay, he's not a candidate for surgery. And but the more they look at me with the MRIs, PET scans, scans and stuff they do, the thought is that maybe after another scan up at Moffitt in Tampa that I can get, some kind of surgery done. Who knows? Would be good. But that's what this gastro guy wrote in his notes, and it kind of got me like, I'm going for curative, and I want you on my team. If you don't think this cancer can be cured, then we need to talk more. But he said, no, it's not that. It's just that, that's the standard writing when you write somebody that has a cancer that you have. You don't write down that it's a curative thing. So, he said, I got more things to do here, Dave. We'll talk later. So that's where we went with that. So anyway, let's see what else happened this week. My chemotherapy, because that operation happened on Tuesday, which bumped my chemotherapy out of Tuesday, moved to Thursday. And then they said, okay, from now on, all of your chemotherapy will be done on Thursday. And I go, well, is it standard that you just move everything, move like a whole thing? And she said, yes, because this is one of the nurses down in the chemo room, is because your treatments all line up that way. You are treated for with your, for me anyway, it's 3 chemicals that they use, and you go from week to week. You can't like do one on Tuesday and then one on Thursday and then skip. That's not what they do with this. So you find out new things. I don't know. This is brand new for me. So now I'm on Thursday, which is good for me because Thursdays for me, don't you have like a favorite day of the week? For me, it's Thursdays, and it's better than Tuesdays. I guess my crappy day of the week, not crappy, but of all the ones you think, Wednesday would have to be like, not a special day. I like all the other days. Isn't that weird how we have those kind of things? Anyway, my favorite day of the week is Thursday, so it's going to work out well. Now, something I did different in this chemotherapy session that I didn't do on the last one. Remember last time I told you guys that I took my MacBook and I took all my work and just worked through all the 3 hours of dripping chemicals in me. This time, I went back to what I normally do, which is I run a 30-minute guided meditation that this guy has done that I got a hold of guiding you through getting into a really peaceful place, and then, thinking about how he calls it medicine instead of chemo, how the medicine's going in your body and it's going to hit the right cells and your other cells will be protected. It's kind of cool, but it puts you in a really cool state. And if I have a drip that takes an hour, I just run that thing twice. And for me, and you may think this crazy, but for me, that week that I didn't do it, I felt differently. The side effects, I felt like more exhausted. I felt like, no energy. And we'll see what happens this week. It's only, I got it on Thursday and did the meditation thing. So today is Saturday. We'll see what happens during this next week. But it should be interesting. I really believe in those kind of things. It's like they do make a difference in your life. They have for me. And no, I said last week, even if it's a placebo effect, it is working, right? I mean, if I feel better, so what if it's foo-foo or whatever you want to call it, some kind of weird mojo that's going on. If it works in my brain and makes me feel more energized and more whatever, then it's working. So we don't have to worry about that part. So that I did that differently. With this move, it's been hard to stay hydrated. So later, in a little bit, gonna go out and get some more. I love sparkling water. Gonna get some more stuff to drink, and what else is happening? Coming up for the week, I don't have anything planned except my chemo for next Thursday, which is kind of great because there's a lot of stuff that I need to work on as far as this course I'm putting together on ketosis and people that want to use a ketogenic diet for any kind of metabolic disease. I know that's a mouthful and a lot of people don't even know what that means. So what I want to do is kind of break it down into layman's terms. So if somebody stumbles on the internet, by and says, well, I have this stuff going on, maybe what foods, that's generally what people put into Google is what foods cure cancer, what foods, will help me with diabetes, or what foods, give me a food list or something I can go by. So I'm going to put that together so people can have that. We'll have downloads, already got those prepared. And, that will be like a free thing. It'll be a 5-video course along with the downloads. And, I think it'd be something of great value to people who are looking. I mean, there's so many things you can do with diet, and it's a tragedy that more people don't really look at it that way. They think, gosh, I got this thing going on, I got high cholesterol, I go to the doctor and he gives me a drug, when you really don't need to worry about cholesterol. I mean, the latest studies have shown that high cholesterol is not a bad thing. You do have to look after your lipids. Your lipids, when the wrong kind of lipids are flowing through your blood veins, that's something you have to take notice of. But cholesterol, I mean, cholesterol is like a fireman that's running through your veins and patching up stuff that needs to be patched. It's not the bad guy. So, things are changing, but the doctors are still like giving out statins, because statins, even though most of the statins, I guess all of them, have been proven almost totally ineffective. I think they help a teeny bit. But, I mean, if you look at the numbers and crunch them, you find that the potential gain for somebody is like minimal, which, again, is, something to be said about the pharmaceutical industry. It's that, even drugs that do nothing for people, the FDA still approves them. And, doctors prescribe them and we take them, I mean, because that's the thought. I think about my mom a lot of times, even though my dad passed away in 2001, was taking 16 medications at the time, and just, I think he died from, his organs shut down because all these strong drugs were just like killing him. It wasn't the disease that killed him. It was the doctors not knowing what to throw at it. They kept on trying to patch up symptoms instead of going to the root cause of the disease. What's causing this? And I don't know why we're just so like into, you got a headache, let's give you an aspirin. That's the thinking, instead of like, okay, what's giving you the headaches? Let's try to maybe change your lifestyle a little bit, or maybe something you're eating, or so she is the kind of person, my mom, that if the doctor says you should be taking this, it's like, no question, I'm going to take that. There's like zero advocacy, you like don't stand up for yourself at all. You just take them at their word. Even though she's seen, what happened to my dad, it's sad. And the majority of people are like that, they'll go through life and they'll just take the doctor at his word, and that's it. So it's a sad thing. Yeah. So I have a few more minutes with you. I'm gonna go till 9:30 this morning on this thing because we have so much to do here. and kind of getting adjusted here. Yeah, and just wanted to give you an update about what's going on, how things are, how I'm feeling. There were some days last week that after that chemotherapy that I just was not feeling it. You know, I was like, man, how am I going to do this house move if I just have zero energy? I could hardly even get out of a car, you know, without grunting and making all kinds of noise. It's bad when you feel that in your body that you have zero. Yeah, I just, you know, you want to like be better and you can't because there's nothing there. And, you know, I get this from the oncologist saying, how do you know it's not your diet? And I go, oh, man, you know, could be, you know, I don't want to argue with him. I want him to be open to my diet and let me still do it, you know, and not make enemies with him. But at the same time, you know, I want him to know that we know that these chemicals that you're putting in me are heavy duty and are carcinogenic in themselves. And, you know, they do hit I mean, look at my hair. My hair does not have cancer, my hair follicles, and it's taken those out. So to say that it's controlled and, you know, we're putting it exactly to the cancer is just not a right thing to say. Now, in my own right and the therapy I'm doing, the reason I probably still have some hair is because of the ketosis, you know, the ketogenic diet, you know, protects, and especially the fasting I do before I go in to do my chemotherapy, it protects your good cells. You know, your good cells, if you look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, when people went without eating for a long time, their cells in their body would kind of shut down and remain in a state that was like protective, you know. And the reason they did that is because they're trying to, you know, be very efficient and not like burn fuel when they don't have to, you know. And then when something does come along, like food, you know, if you break your fast, then they pop up, wake up again, and your body gets back into digesting, and your liver starts processing stuff again. That's why I think it's so important to stop eating at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because by 9 p.m., which is 6 hours, your small intestine will be completely empty, hopefully, you know, if everything's running right. And then you will have the ability to let your liver and your pancreas and your gallbladder and these vital organs to just kind of like slow down and take a rest for the night and get energy, you know, re-energize themselves. So just a tip there for you. All right, gonna call it quits here. It's been good. I'll post these things as soon as they process, and I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. We're gonna keep going here as far as our weekend, getting this house set up. All right, take care, love you, and if you want to write comments below, I'll be answering them as I see them. And yeah, have a good one.